Hello everyone, this is Persephone, and the Niteflirt videos are getting nice views, and because I like helping people and I like driving the Niteflirt gurus out of business, we're going to continue with this type of content. So today we're going to discuss different categories of difficult clients on Niteflirt. They have variations. We're going to start from the more mild, boring guy category that makes your life hard and move on to delusional guys who can be erotomaniacs and stalkers and very dangerous. And we're going to end up with legit sadists who call Niteflirt to harass you, and that's the real king. I have started on Niteflirt in November 2022, but before that I was doing camming, so a lot of these people may actually overlap. A lot of that advice you will be able to use it in camming as well if you're a cam girl or a cam boy, because these people usually have no life, so they troll on multiple sites. So no further intro. I hate intros and I don't want to make these videos long ramblings. Let's start right away. The first category is the guy who gives one-word answers. You may be chatting with him, you may be even worse on the phone with him, and he answers yes or no to practically everything that you ask him. It's like pulling teeth without anesthesia, trying to have a conversation with this person. For example, you can ask him, do you like girls who wear a short skirt? Yes, that's it, nothing more. Do you have fantasies you want us to explore? Yes, nothing more. What kind of porn do you like to watch? Do you watch a lot of porn? Sometimes. So when this happens, you start getting transference, like you start feeling very bad and like you're doing something wrong. And let me start by reassuring you that this person has the personality of a cardboard box. These are videos for creators. I'm going to be blunt. I don't care whose feelings I'm offending, because in my mind, I quit YouTube in a way of trying to cater to like whoever is there. Like I don't cater to entitled men anymore. So they don't have game. So you are going to have to use slight type of interrogation techniques that I actually read books from former FBI agents to come up with that, because they were driving me up against the wall. The first thing is you're going to start asking questions. And after the second or third question where you get a yes or no answer, you are going to ask a question that it's impossible to answer with yes or no. For example, you ask someone, are you into cuckolding? Yes. Do you watch cuckold porn? Second question, yes. Third question is, what happens in your favorite cuckold porn? Describe it to me. Usually people who are mild, they're just going to describe, oh, the woman does this and the man does that and the bull does the third. I mean, it's YouTube. I'm not going to describe in a graphic way, but they're going to describe. The people who are hardcore are going to say, oh, the usual. Then if they answer with 2 words again, you start saying, well, if I was there and I wanted to cuck you, what would you want me to do? Like, keep asking the question in a way that it's impossible to say, oh, I want you to do stuff. There were people, when I was inexperienced, that they drove me so much up against the wall that I told them, I can't continue because you give me nothing to work with. But I don't recommend doing that. Unless you have a really bad day, then you can do whatever you want. I don't put a price tag on your mental and physical health. Sometimes people just feel shy or just need time to feel comfortable with you. So if you start asking questions and they start giving more answers that they're not one word, the conversation will continue. If that fails, what you do is you ask them, what do you usually enjoy doing on Niteflirt? People who are really evil, in my opinion, and I curse them inside, will say something, I like having fun. I'm telling them, I need you to be more specific because I like to make our session personalized. So I ask more questions to get to know you. Otherwise, I can't do that. I can't make the session personalized. I don't use scripts. Some people get flattered by that and they start talking. Some people are the type that you ask a man, what are you into? And he says, well, women. They're so generic. So you are going to start asking the questions, like I said, phrase them in a way that they cannot answer with 1 word. And then, like a good FBI agent, periodically ask the same question. That if he told you he's into cuckold porn, then you ask something about cuckold porn in 5 minutes, then in 10 minutes, and so on. Eventually, either they're going to be frustrated and hang up, or they're going to start talking. In any case, you got their money, which is our only goal here, nothing else. Case number 2, one step over this guy, is the guy who is actually, honestly, an entitled, patriarchal, anti-sexual loser. So this is the guy that he wants to believe that he's not actually paying you to talk to him. And these are the people that I really don't like very much. For example, they're going to call me and they're going to say, what are you into? There was this guy who was telling me, my king is to make women orgasm. You cannot make me orgasm. It's impossible to make me orgasm because, first of all, I don't know how you look like. Second, I'm not into strangers. That's not my sexuality. And third, you're paying women to talk to you. There is no way you're this Chad that women see and drop their panties. But anyway, this is just me being toxic. So when people say that, there are two possible scenarios. One scenario is that they want something extremely specific and they expect you to be a mind reader, which in that case, sometimes you can guess it and be like it. Sometimes the call just flops, which is fine. Next. Or they just want something extremely generic and they're saying it trying to sound cool and they want you to fake being aroused. And I'm going to say this for the men who are watching me. 99% of women are not aroused by you for various reasons that I can explain on main videos, and they have to fake it. So, like I said, porn acting is acting. Don't feel bad for faking. In that case, I do one of the following. When I say to a person, hi, what are you into? And he says whatever you are into, I either say something very generic like, oh, I like to get you to get off on camera for me, which works in most of the cases. Or I'm going to say like, I want you to pretend that you're servicing 3 BBCs for me on camera. And in that case, either it works well or the person hangs up. Like, if you're going to tell me what you're into and I'm on not a trolling mode, but like risky mode, testing the waters, I'm going to do that. And then they start getting offended and they just say, how dare you, I'm not gay. And then I say, well, you asked me what I'm into, but hey, if that's not your thing, do you want to tell me what you're into? And by that time, they are already upset. So usually that gets their tongue rolling and they tell me what they're into and we get on with that bullshit. Another category that is directly connected to that is the men who are not gay, but they just love penises. This is so ridiculous. I have spoken about it so many times and I honestly hate it because, in my opinion, homosexuality isn't the king and homosexuality isn't something that I can convert you to. So this guy is going to tell you, I want you to hypnotize me. I want you to corrupt me. I want you to entice me. There is going to be this kind of like convoluted, confusing, weird, nonsensical, perverted description that 99% of the times is they want you to turn them gay, which is obviously bullshit. They just want to do gay stuff and they just need someone else to take accountability for it. Which is, like I said, for me, it's on my top 10 turn-offs of all time. Like, if you're bi or gay, that's totally fine. And I don't want to be the middleman. I don't want you to be able to point your finger at me and say, she made me do it. I didn't want to do it. That's horrible. But if you want quick cash, the videos are always targeted towards people who are strapped for cash. When they say corrupting, hypnotizing, and all of that stuff, assume some gay fantasy that includes an at least 11-inch penis or a BBC, and you're going to be fine. This is difficult if you are new, and you get used to it pretty fast, so that's not going to be a problem. Moving on to more difficult categories. The guy who is using the cam site as a fake dating site. There are these guys that they somehow missed biology class and they also missed common sense. So they don't understand that attraction is a very primal thing. It's there or it's not there. I'm a huge supporter of the theory that women know within 30 seconds if they want to have sex with someone or not. I can tell you I know even faster than that, but that's just me. So these guys do not understand that if no woman is interested in you in real life, you're not going to go to some online woman to the other side of the world and throw $50 at her and say, you're going to love me for real. Or even worse, there are these men who say, oh, I want to support you, I want to take care of you. Like, you want a live-in prostitute, essentially. Like, you're paying all the bills for this woman to like you. And that falls under the umbrella of failed sexpat. I believe that sometimes passport bros can happen, especially with the current state in America where women have outrageous standards. You can be an average guy there and go to Asia and be a sex god, especially if you're white. But I'm not talking about this category. I'm talking about the category of person who is below average, 50 years older than you, 3,000 pounds heavier than you, has a 2-inch penis and so on, and yet he thinks that he's going to get a girlfriend. I'm not sure what really happens in America. They seem to have the system that insulates men from reality, that they completely forgot how attraction works. So these people are going to message you and they're going to start saying bullshit like, I want to get to know you, I want to marry you, proposing directly to you, and so on. In that case, again, I'm giving various types of solutions, starting from the money-making one to the one that makes me feel better about myself. You just have to be a failed chatbot customer service. So you say to this person, hello, thank you for your message. Niteflirt does not allow us to meet men outside the site, or Niteflirt doesn't allow us to date men, or whatever. But if there is something I can do for you to make you happy online, or if you want to have a good time online, I'm here for you. And you write that and you screenshot that. You always screenshot these bitches because some of them, after you reject them, they can make fake reports against you on Niteflirt. I had at least 3 or 4 occasions in the last years where they made fake failed reports against me, but I had screenshotted the entire chat, or I had screenshotted the entire Skype, and they just lost their account instead of me losing my account. So the moment someone starts with the erotomaniac psychosis that you belong together, you land that spaceship so smoothly back into planet Earth. You don't let that spaceship take off to space because you're going to be on planets that you cannot survive there. There are many women on this side that they're going to tell you, just lead these men on. These women, I call them uneducated predators, because when someone is already on the verge of psychosis, psychosis is essentially a condition where you believe things, although there is solid evidence to the contrary, you continue to believe them. Like you have brain problems. So if there is a guy who believes he can buy a girlfriend with $50 and you say, oh, if I wasn't so far away, we would be together, or oh, maybe one day we're going to be together, or oh, I'm single and I'm searching for a boyfriend, then this guy can stalk you later on. He can become an erotomaniac. He can become obsessed. So this is a game I'm never, ever, ever going to encourage you to play. And also it's something that can make you lose your account and be banned because the site does not allow you to meet men. They don't want you to end up dismembered in a suitcase that someone threw in a river, and then when the police researches how did you and that murderer met, they find Niteflirt or Chaturbate or any site. They want you to be safe because it covers their ass too. So I'm not going to ever tell you to entertain these men like that, no matter how strapped you are for cash. And honestly, it disgusts me. It's one of the reasons that I can blatantly say I don't like my job anymore. I feel that my job is getting paid to be sexually harassed because these men would never have access to me if I wasn't doing this job. Not because I'm hot or I'm a celebrity or anything, but because if someone walked up to me, let's say at the gym, or let's say at the grocery store, or at the hospital, or anywhere, and he started spouting this nonsense, it would be blatant sexual harassment and security would escort him out. But because it's a paid site, they feel entitled to hit on you. Essentially, they are paying to hit on you. So just keep them on long enough to tear them down, and sometimes the more logical of them will say, okay, I'm accepting whatever I can get and I'm getting that session. Some of them can block you, some of them can throw tantrums. In that case, block, ignore, bye. This is a category that 40% of the men who contact me belong to that category. I don't know if it's my style attracting crazy men or if men are becoming crazier and crazier anyway, but at least 2 or 3 times a day on various sites, and when I had OnlyFans, it was 8 to 9 times a day, I had to explain to someone why we're not going to be a couple. And essentially that caused brain rot. Like my autoimmune problems were sky high when I had to do this 9 times a day. My dream is to quit the job, honestly. I'm going to be honest here. My dream is to never have to talk to any entitled man like that in my entire life. But if you need money, you have to do what you have to do. So like I said, don't risk. Be calm, be detached, offer an alternative, and whoever wants it, fine. Whoever doesn't want it, also fine. Another category is the men who are going to be plain scammers. By plain scammers, I'm going to say Niteflirt doesn't allow people searching for their mommy, people showing you their poopy diaper, people wanting an affair with their niece who is 13, God forbid, and all of that stuff. They know the rules. I had ancient accounts from 2001 contacting them and pretending they don't know the rules. So what I have is I have a screenshot with the rules that I sent when I see things going there, but that category that I'm going to describe are men that they're going to appear innocent, normal. Like for example, you have a Skype session and he says he wants jerk-off instructions, stripping, teasing, normal stuff. So you start the session and all of a sudden a poopy diaper appears. Like, sorry for the graphic content, but that's something that has happened to me more times than I would have liked it to happen, which is 0. So when this happens, in my opinion, you terminate the call. You terminate the show. You don't continue. Or people starting a fantasy and then starting calling me mommy in the middle of a fantasy. I don't take that shit. We have discussed our boundaries very early on. You know the rules of the site. So when they start doing that and they start violating the boundaries, they could also be recording you and then sending it to Niteflirt to get you banned. So this category, I consider it very toxic, and in my opinion, it's a form of sexual abuse, because we agreed on one thing and here you are doing another thing without my consent. It is sexual abuse. So block and report. By the way, if you feel that you're discouraged or you're going to enter a mental asylum at this point, I just want to remind you that not all of these things are going to happen to you in one day. These are many different things that happen to many different models over a period of time. You're not going to have all of these crazy men in one day. But even if that happens, I'm trying to have you covered and covered as many cases as possible. Another category is the doxer. The people who know you or think they know you or somehow find you. And I have videos about how to stay safe online that I recommend watching from older times on YouTube. But in that case, I just want you to know that when you are in this business, there is always a chance of being found out. So I always say to people, don't start this job unless you absolutely need cash, because once it's out there, it's going to be forever out there. So let's say Jimmy from junior high, who always had a crush on you and you rejected him, and now he's a 40-year-old incel, is on Niteflirt and he finds you out and he comes to freak you out by calling you with your real name or with your real address or whatever. When that happens, you have to troll the troll. So the first thing is, if someone sends me real information, I ignore. I pretend I didn't even see it. I'm not even going to block him, because that's confirmation. Sometimes they do that to see if what they found out is correct, because they're not sure. You don't block, you ignore, or you ask, where is this? Who is this? If the person, let's say, had your civilian Facebook and they start sending you pictures from there to freak you out, I suggest studying the law in your country or in your state to know exactly what's going on, because that varies from time to time. And then you engage, again, I'm just recommending the Baby Reindeer movie because I found it a very good example in these cases. Then you try to make the person say something incriminating. For example, that, hey, bitch, if you don't do this show for me for free, I'm telling your mom, your dad, your ex-husband, your job. Threat. Screenshot. You send them the screenshot and then you say, hey, before I go to the police station, anything else you want to add? Because that's like blackmail. So I believe that in most countries, this type of behavior is highly illegal. So in most cases, they're just going to shut the fuck up and disappear and probably come back from a fake account. You do the same thing. You have to let them know, if you cannot ignore them, that you're documenting everything and soon there is going to be a case. And something that is very important is you have to be prepared to follow through. Even if the police doesn't do anything, having a case against them will be very useful for you in the future. In many stalking cases, and I say this as a person that I've been stalked all of my life, like I'm a person that being stalked is a lifestyle at this point. Like, I don't know any other way. They stalk me in my building, my narcissistic mother stalks me, I have men stalking me. Unfortunately, we are victims of crimes that we have to take care of ourselves. Like, no one is going to take you by the hand to gather evidence for you unless you are like a very high celebrity status and you can pay someone to do that. So document everything. Be vigilant about it, and then say to the person every time they contact you, hey, I saved that up, I'm building the case against you. And they're going to stop. Otherwise, if it escalates and your physical and mental health is being compromised, it's much easier to bother the police to do their job if the person has contacted you 20 times and you have proof versus the person is contacting you 2 times. The more proof you have, the better. And I suggest always having a backup plan. If you have a family that they're going to react badly because you do this job or any kind of sex work or anything that they don't approve, always have a backup plan, always have your own bank account, always have a place to go. And if you don't have them right now, start planning on how you're going to get them. Because the chances of that happening, especially if you start becoming successful, and you will be successful in my advice, increase as time passes by. There is a category of person that is going to be the last in this video, that their real king is harassing you and trying to make you quit your job. These people are outright sadists. I say that because I recently found out that you can be a narcissist and not a sadist, and that this is a different category, because it was very strange to me, because every narcissist that I know is also sadistic. But okay, I mean, if the experts say so, who am I to disagree? So this person's real king is to try to scam you or to try to get you banned. These people are going to try to do things to provoke you, to make you like lose your cool and get you in trouble. So, for example, they may start the show and all of a sudden in the middle of the show start doing drugs and then try to record you. So because I can't predict every case that is going to happen, I'm going to give you some general instructions to stay safe. Never do things against Niteflirt rules. I know that many people are going to pressure you. I know that when you have slow days, it's very tempting to just break the rules, but a lot of people who ask things against the rules are people whose real king is to get you banned. And I say this because especially always check, click on the name of the client to see when was the account formed. If there is an account that the guy just joined last month thinking with his dick, then there is a chance he didn't read the rules or he doesn't remember them. But if there is an account from 2002 and he's asking you to be his mommy, there is a pretty high chance this person is a troll who is trying to get you banned. He knows the rules. He's been here for centuries. Go to other flirts or to the forums of women who have low feedback and see which people repeatedly give 1-star reviews and get them blocked in advance. Or keep an eye on them. I say that, I cannot emphasize this enough, because the same guys are doing the rounds, giving 1-star reviews for no reason. And I want you to be covered or prepared of what's going to happen. Don't say anything that can be used against you, and maintain professionalism at all times. I haven't always done that, but I think it's good advice. Like, for example, there was a very bad day I had recently where the same people, I met 2 transphobic men in one day. One of them messaged me for a show. By the way, if I was trans, first of all, I would never be a man transitioning to a woman. No shame to anyone who does that. It's like, if I was a man, I would have stayed a man. And I don't know why people assume that, but there was this guy who thought that I'm going to have a penis and somehow registered myself as a female without saying that I'm trans. So we started the show, and then he started berating me and saying that he expected me to have a penis and he's very disappointed that I don't, and he's going to give me a 1-star review. I'm like, I'm sorry. If you had asked me or if you had bought one of my videos, you would have seen that I don't have that. Thank you for your time. Bye. And there was another guy who messaged me and he started to say, I'm a male flirt. Some of these guys have this kink. When you see someone pretending to be a sex worker, 9 out of 10 times for me, it's a cancerous parasite. And then he started saying, I can see that you're trying to transition to be a woman and you have failed. And it's like, I don't have any interest in someone like you. I told him, thank you very much for contacting me and sharing your opinion. Have a good day. And then I wait for a couple of days and then I block all of these subhumans. Like, especially if you're trans, or especially if you have extra weight, or if you have any kind of insecurity, these people are going to try to find it and try to make you lose your temper and say things that they can report you for. So never, ever, ever give them that pleasure. In my opinion, it drives them like so crazy to know that they're not going to live in my head rent-free. Like, I have the down payment for my head. Eventually, I'm going to buy the whole place and no motherfucker is going to live there. So I want the same for you. So be aware of your insecurities. And even if you have them, either work on them or don't show them. A poker face is a poker face. And like I said, this entire job is a glorified mind game. And another thing that it's very important to know is that the sex workers that they work on the phone sex industry are the worst I have ever met in my entire life. So the latest thing that they did is that they managed to freeze my account for 2 days, reporting me as an AI. I don't have AI content. And first of all, this is like so stupid because I do mainly phone with cam. How can I have fake AI girls and then the men see me? Like, I have over 300 or 400 calls on phone with cam and no one ever said anything, like in the last 2 months. But they reported me, and I'm sure that the one who reported me is a woman, and I have 2 or 3 candidates. So I would say the most toxic people there, even more than the men, can actually be the women. Never believe the solidarity and women supporting women bullshit as a generalization. There are going to be supportive women. Some of them, few of them. The majority, if they see you doing well, they're going to try to eradicate you. So be very, very careful about what you post in your listings, and I would say stay away from the Niteflirt forum at all costs. If you want to read there, go ahead and read. I never found any useful information there, but don't post or comment, because there are the same trolls leaving condescending comments and giving wrong advice over and over and over in that forum. I'm not going to name them. Just read 3 or 4 threads and the same people will appear. They're jaded, they have failed, they don't have a life, and they're trying to take the newbies down. I don't do that. With my advice, you're going to make money and you're going to have a fair chance to make a lot of money. So be very careful. Don't advertise things that are against the rules. Don't have catfish pictures or pictures that they are not you. Take your best pictures, post them, and you're going to do just fine. And most importantly, I'm always going to say that this is a marathon, not a sprint. So stay patient. Some days are going to be bad, some days are going to be great, some days are going to be average. As long as you have the basics covered, you're ahead of a lot of competition. I hope this helped. Like I said, if you have questions, if you have things you want me to feature, just put them in the comments and I'm going to make a Q&A video eventually with all of them, and I'm going to answer them for free. You don't need to pay me a dime for this advice. YouTube will pay me. The channel got remonetized. So if you want to help me, subscribing and sharing is the way. Thank you for watching.